All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the PAC. How exciting is this, right? I don't know if we've met. There's Alex.
Alex Platt.
I'm Cheryl Renier-Wig. I'm the Development Director for the department. Matt Buchanan, the deputy, is usually the point person here for staff, but he's on vacation and enjoying himself. So I'm filling in, but I was involved with the PAC early on. I was a board member a long time ago. So I think we're at a point where we don't have a chair. Our chair has resigned and relocated. And I think our vice chair is Chuck. Was it Chuck?
Pretty sure.
He's not here. So if you wouldn't mind, I'll run this meeting, this first meeting, as we bring everybody on board and acclimate it again. So our roll call, we have Chuck Yang, maybe coming up. Alder Prophet present is here. Michelle Zahala Winter is not here. Alex Zacharias is here. Melanie Bradshaw Motif.
Present.
Beth Kowalski.
Present.
And then Roselle Hero Almonte is not here. Sophie Bibu is not here either. So they might come in later in the meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda today?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Under the minutes, approval of the minutes from Wednesday, September 25th, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Alder Prophet, seconded by?
I wasn't there, so I don't want to second it.
Can you second that?
Fair.
Alex, can you second that motion?
Sorry, what was the question?
To approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Oh,
Can you second that?
oh, yes, I'll second that.
Perfect. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carried. So we'll move on to informational, which is introduction of our new public arts coordinator. Yay! Eric Ledesma Barrero. I didn't even say
Thank you.
that right, did I?
Yeah, you did. Borrero, yeah.
Barrero.
Borrero.
That's,
Yeah, Borrero.
It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, Eric, and then you can introduce yourself and talk about why you're here.
Yeah, thank you all. I'm really excited to be here. Nice to meet you, Alex, virtually, and the folks on the floor. I have a quick question before we move. Am I a voting member as well? Can I second or anything?
No.
No, okay, great. Just wanted to, I just want to make sure how it all rolls.
Yep.
Awesome. Again, my name is Eric Ledesma Borrero. My pronouns are he, she, they. I use all three. I come from way of Puerto Rico. Was born and raised in San Juan, Puerto Rico, but I live in Milwaukee. Have been living my whole life between Wisconsin and Puerto Rico, and now Green Bay. So thank you for having me, for welcoming me to the Green Bay family. I'm really excited to be in this role. It seems like a really beautiful, vibrant public arts community. And I wanted to give you a presentation, and unfortunately our technology has not been cooperating with each other because I use a Mac for everything personal, and everything is PC, so there was some issues transferring documents. But
In all fairness, he
Yeah.
started last Thursday.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
Thursday.
yes.
Yes. Yeah, I came in, boom.
Yeah. In the
Yes.
fire.
In the fire, yes. Literally flew in from Puerto Rico Wednesday night.
Wow.
And here we are, but it's been delightful. I will give a presentation off my laptop, if you don't mind that. We can also share that with other folks. It is a pretty large PDF, but we can pass it around and I'll talk about the things that I have done in my career for the last 20 years between the spaces that I find myself in. So yeah, let me just pull this up for you. Email hasn't come in? No? We transfer?
I feel like it's always a struggle between like arts things and everyone
And
else.
everyone else. Yeah, good. All right. So, like I said, my name is Eric Ledesma Borrero. First, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my public arts works. I am a practitioner and artist myself. Aside from curator and educator in Milwaukee, I teach at the Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, and also work for a couple of galleries in Milwaukee, with the Milwaukee Art Museum, Woodland Pattern Book Center, which focuses mostly on poetry, and also the Walker's Point Center for the Arts in Walker's Point in Milwaukee. So, some of the work that I have done throughout my career, I have been the artist in residency for a couple of spaces in Milwaukee. This was in a Hispanic-speaking community called Clark Square, which I was stationed there for 6 months, and part of my residency was to make a mural or any public art piece that represented the neighborhood, which I grew up in as well. So this is part of one of the murals that I created in 2017, called Si Se Puede, with community input, of course. This was a combination. Artists Work in Education is a nonprofit in Milwaukee, which they did this program where they paired artists along with home owners in a specific strip, and were able to paint their garage. So it kind of created a gallery in the alleyway. Also, if anybody has any questions at any moment, please feel free to stop.
We can ship this out to you, Alex, I'm sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yes, we will.
Have
to This program was developed by myself and a couple of co-creators. We, as part of an event called the River West 24, it is a 24-hour bike ride that happens in a neighborhood in Milwaukee called River West. Part of that route is bonus points to get more points for your team or for whoever you're doing the bike ride with. We developed this program, which was a paint-by-number murals. We did in 2018, 2019 in the River West 24. This was part of my artistic residency at the Mitchell Street Public Library. I was stationed there for a whole year. This mural was created with 8 interns of mine at the time. And here we were talking about places, stories. So trying to reconnect with a place and an event that truly shaped who they are as a teenager. And they developed that into a visual, into one sticker, and then we created those stickers on top of each other, overlaying into a mural, and that's actually at the Mitchell Street Library in the lower level right now. Part of that residency also, I was asked to create a sculpture, and this is a sculpture that culminated. We sort of taught local members, guests, to come in and taught them a tool, not a tool, it's more like a technique called blind contour, where you put the pencil down and you do one line without looking at your paper. They created their own portraits, and from that portraits we gathered them and enlarged them, created a sculptural piece that's 25 feet by 5 feet tall, and it's installed in the Mitchell Public Library as well. This one, was a really interesting one because it was created during COVID. I was by myself in the Milwaukee courthouse painting this, which is a really interesting experience. Our county executive of the time was really into public arts, and he decided that he was going to ask a handful of artists to install public art within the courthouse because he felt it was kind of sterile, which a lot of buildings can be, not necessarily government, any building, sometimes can just be sterile, right, giving it a little bit of life. So I was one of the selected 5 to create a piece in the courthouse. And moving forward, after, I guess, like I mentioned before, I'm from Puerto Rico. After Hurricane Maria, I became really interested in food and how food is not only a vehicle, but also an art form, vehicle to connect, talk, gather. I definitely consider myself much more of a social practitioner than a painter or a sculptor or anything else. That's truly my main medium. This was an exhibition that was created at the Haggerty Museum of Art in Martin Head, University of Milwaukee, part of a grant called the Mary L. Knoll Grant that is gifted to 5 artists in the greater Milwaukee area. So this was specifically focusing on food as a form of grieving, in a way, based off of an idea of very, very old folkloric tradition in Puerto Rico, where when a young kid passed away, it was actually a celebration of the life of the child. It was believed that a young kid would pass away and heaven gained a new angel immediately, so it was more like a celebration of this person's life. So this was right after COVID reopened. I decided to focus on food, right, as a gathering space for us to commune, to again finally be on each other's presence. So that's a little bit of my practice. Now I'm gearing to community and social practice. Like I said, during Hurricane Maria, like post-Hurricane Maria, I really focused on food a lot. Why? Went back home in 2017, immediately after, about 8 days after Hurricane Maria, I was back home. And I noticed that, one, I had a bunch of supplies. Wisconsin was beautiful to me. Wisconsin was amazing. Friends, family, just sort of like giving. So I was able to come back home with a plethora and an overabundance of things, food, water filters, solar panels, all the things that were needed sort of like in that moment. But I didn't know what to do with them. So kind of in the hustle and bustle of it, another thing, we were very lucky that my family had electricity at the time. We were one of the very few, maybe like less than 1% that had electricity. So we decided that we were going to make food and go to places that we understood were and communicated. People were not able to come out to see what we could disperse, right? Because we had so many things, how can we like get the materials to people's hands? In that process, the vehicle that we had was not big enough to fit the table. So I put in my mother's ironing board, and that was the table. But then that became a shtick, right? I would pull up at a plaza, and people would see an ironing board. We're like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "We don't know. Let's figure this out together." So we started having conversations with folks, trying to figure out what it was that they needed, and we were able to disperse about $2,500, 2,300 meals. We did 13 pop-ups around the island. That's my grandmama cooking. Here are some images, and this was all a family affair. Hello, welcome.
Hi, good morning.
Eric,
Morning.
Chuck.
I know the meeting went
Nice to
late.
meet you. Welcome. I'm just giving a little run through of like my work and the things that I'm doing, have done. So the ironing board kept me really interested in food as a vehicle for everything, for all the things. And during the pandemic, this other project was created called the Corned Beef Project. Corned beef is a pretty big dish in Puerto Rico, traditional dish which people probably wouldn't associate, right? When we think corned beef, we probably think Ireland, right? You know, corned beef. But it was one of my favorite dishes growing up. And going back home, I moved back home during the pandemic in 2020. My mother is a nurse, and I have a brother. So I was in Puerto Rico from 2020 to 2022, and food was kind of like a safety net, right? So I was like, how can we really be together at a distance? And this project kind of was born. I started doing research on corned beef, where it came from, why it's in Puerto Rico, and decided to start sending meal kits with all the ingredients to close friends of mine in the United States. I asked them to, one, read the history of why the corned beef is in Puerto Rico, two, cook the meal. I made a video of myself, instructional video. These are the ingredients. Send them the video of the instructions of how to make the food, and also I asked them to document it and post it online. These were the first 10 boxes that we were able to send when the post office was finally open. Yeah, that was all a blur, but it did happen. And this folks receiving the ingredients and then activating it in their own home. I asked them to use the hashtag Proyecto Con Beef. About 230 folks have interacted with this project. It was a way for us to be in community at a distance, and I asked them to send me back the images. As of right now, I'm still compiling the imagery, trying to at some point develop a book or some sort of tangible object that we can have from this experiment. And then it kind of grew into several things outside of just that. Somebody sent some drawings. An artist that was interacting sent some drawings for experience. It became other things with the King Wongsuk School of Art in Chicago. Just other places sort of caught onto that and developed their own programming based on food and conversations via Zoom and cooking together. In my interest of food, again, while I was in Puerto Rico, at a distance, but still close to Milwaukee, a group of us artists decided that we were going to start translating a lot of documents from English to Spanish. We noticed that first language was Spanish. We noticed that a lot of things that were coming out were not being translated properly. And to not like have any issues with that, we started just doing that on our own for our families and sort of like kind of posting it on Facebook. It's 8 of us, 8 artists, and that sort of became a mutual aid program. We started, this was the small space that we started with at a church, and this is the team. We quickly grew into serving from 50 families every weekend to 200, 300 every weekend, giving out anything from food, basic need supplies, feminine hygiene, children hygienes, and that ran from 2020, we started in June of 2020 until about summer of 2022. Yeah, right, it's just like us, 8 artists interested and sort of like asking questions and probing and saying, no, sure, why not, right? Having that curiosity of being able to do the things. Now, into my curatorial work, this is just a few of the things. There's a lot of information, so if you have any questions, please pause. This is just small selected works. This is 3 projects that I have been able to work with. This was I had an interest of having the first exhibition of only Puerto Rican artists in Milwaukee, going through like a rabbit hole of history and conversations with other Puerto Ricans. Right, we've been part of the community since the 50s, and there wasn't like one actual show of Puerto Rican artists. So, well, why not? Let's do it. And I was able to gather 25 artists from around the nation. This was in 2022, 2023. Artists from the island, New York, Washington State, Texas, Wisconsin, of course, Chicago. And the newest project that I'm working on with Walker's Point Center for the Arts is a program called Word Wall. Like I had mentioned, I work with Woodley Pattern Book Center, which is a poetry-focused and literary arts nonprofit in Milwaukee. And also, as a person who's really interested in the arts, I wanted to combine both, right? So this premise starts with a poem being selected, and then from that poem, we curate a show. It's going to be 8 different shows throughout the year. Each show is focused on a different demographic of artists who work based on identity. Right now, we have a show that is up about the 10 artists are educators, artist educators. The first one was a group of Black women. This was during Black History Month in February. The second one was Al-Nisa, a exhibition focusing on Muslim American women. The third show was during AAPI Month, Asian Pacific Islander artists. Fourth show was during Pride, and the one that we have up now is Artist Educators. And that is all I have for you for the moment, because things are still developing. There is so much more that has been produced, and we can like chat with that one-on-one. I'd love to meet with you all individually to see like where we're going, what we're doing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
What, like what, right?
I know, I just want to, can I ask?
Yeah.
Why Green Bay?
Why not Green Bay?
Oh, yeah, that's the right answer.
As you know, so Green Bay has, as a kid growing up, like, come on, the Packers, right? I'm not necessarily much into sports, but that is not a dig at nothing. I do respect a lot of, like, Green Bay. Also, my partner, his family lives on the reservation, so I do have ties to Green Bay. We're here often, at least once a year for the powwow. So yeah, why not? I think one of the things that really grabbed my attention from the position, one was that there is a position for public arts within the government. That's amazing. Extremely progressive and beautiful and just sort of mind-boggling, right? And that website that y'all have, it's so good. The website for public arts, it's brilliant. I don't know, I really love the intersection of government and arts. I think that there's so much that can be done. And y'all have been doing it for the last 8 years, and like, well, this sounds like the place where I would like to be. Because I'm already doing a lot of that work on my own, right? In different spaces, creating placemaking. So it's felt like the perfect fit, and Green Bay is amazing.
Awesome.
You know, we wrote.
Can I say something? I'd like to say something.
Yes, go ahead, Alex.
You had me at corned beef
All right.
And I have I'm a Boricua too from Vieques. I've been here about 25 years, so I'm looking forward to sharing stories with you.
Yeah, likewise. Nice to meet you. And from Vieques, wow. Now that's beautiful.
I like corned beef too.
Well, I still have to cook the next week.
Oh, was our
I'm with
plantains in
you,
the
Alice.
dish?
Yeah,
I
sweet
haven't had
plantains.
good plantains in a really long time.
Yeah. All right. Well, next meeting is going to be food. Yeah. Stuff.
Yeah, so, we've been so fortunate, we had Laura for many, many years, who really built it up, built the base, and did a lot of the creation work, put so much art publicly in Green Bay, which was great, and I just think you've got a very diverse background, and I think I'm really excited about some of the things moving forward that we'll be able to do here in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I appreciate the
Likewise.
multitude of motives too,
Right,
it's not
it's-
like you just,
Mhm.
I hate to say just show us paintings, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's no dig on any artist who that's their motive, but it seems like you've experimented in a lot of modalities, so that's pretty
Yeah.
exciting too.
Thank you. I took a very unconventional route in schooling too. I jumped around. Yeah, because I have many diverse interests. I've been in theater. I've worked in Walker Repertoire Theater as well, professional dancing for a long time. So I've kind of like jumped around and been able to make a base with all the things.
Awesome, that's very exciting.
Cool, well, we'll move on to update on our existing PAC programs and funding. I thought it would be a good idea to see where we're at as a group with our money and our programs. And Stephanie, you want to go through that?
Yep. First off, I'd like to say, I can't believe it's 8 years.
I know, right?
8 years?
That's
Really?
crazy. Yeah.
So,
It is crazy.
I did hand out a spreadsheet. Alex, I will get that emailed out to you later today then, okay? But it just goes over our funding sources. We do have CDBG, which is block grant funding, which those have strings tied to them. We have our grants and restricted funds.
Say how much you have, so.
I was gonna just go over what they are and then I was gonna go. through
Okay, so at least
Yeah.
Alice can hear the balances.
So grants and restricted funds, and then we have city funds, and then we have an NEA grant, which is a specific one we just got, and then Friends accounts. So with the CDBG funding, we currently have $50,000, which we will need to get programmed, and those are for LMI areas within the city.
Motor monitor.
Yep, sorry. So used to lingo, that's.
Yeah.
So that we will need to decide on because those are funds that do have timelines with them. So those are ones that we will need to decide on at some point, but not today. So next up would be our city grants. We have our 211 fund, which is our percent for art. So we do have when a developer comes in and wants to use TIF funds, which is tax increment funding, we do have a percent in the agreement that they need to either put 1% on their own into their development for art, or they could put that 1% into art within a half mile of the development, or the best option, I feel, is they could give us the 1% and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So that is what someone has done, and so we do have money in there. There's also just a little bit of money left over from, we had the 0.5% from the sales tax that had to come back, and some of that money went into here too, but there isn't much of that left in there. But within that, we're doing artist payments for the rotating art program. Some of that can come out of there. We do have unrestricted, we have 85,000 that we just haven't decided to do anything with, but there's no timeline on this, so that is not our major focus right now. We did take 40,000 of that because we had to do matching for the NEA grant, so we're using 40,000 of our percent for arts to match that grant, to fulfill that requirement. And with that grant, we are doing artist grants. We used to do them a while ago, and it was just one of those things that we didn't have funding for, but we did, since we got the grant, we are bringing that back, and I believe that those funds become available in September. So then Eric will get working on that, because,
It's next week.
yep, can't believe it, next week.
Let's do this.
And then also out of the percent for arts, we did set aside money for wages because part of Eric's salary is funded through that program. And then other city funds, ARPA is the,
American Rescue Plan.
thank you, I always get the R wrong. So we do have rotating arts, we have 1,500 that we have contracts out for, because 2 of the artists that we had from the previous year were willing to just keep their art here for another year, since we did not have Eric to fill that this year. So 2 of them were gracious enough to keep their art here. And then the other arts grants, we do have a contract out for the large-scale art that is going over by the Neville. They are supposed to be starting work on that very, very soon.
Yes.
So
It's exciting.
hopefully you'll see some work soon. And then there's also a couple of other of those grants that are still not completely expended. Most of them are, but some of them, I don't remember which ones aren't, but most of them are completely expended. But we do have a couple out there that just have not submitted all of their stuff yet. But then that brings us to unallocated art grants. So we do have $5,000 of unallocated art grants, and in talking with finance and purchasing, because ARPA money we can't do new things with because we're past that timeline, the direction that we were kind of given from finance is to go out to artists, to people that have previously received them, expended all of their funding, and ask, can they extend the program to expend any more funds? So taking this $5,000 that we have and seeing if there's anything else that we could possibly do with it. So that is something that we'll have to look into, but that was the direction we got from finance, because we can't do new programs, but we can fund old ones still. And then that leaves us rotating arts, and it says rotating arts, but there's a couple of other things in the memorandum of understanding that gives us a little bit more wiggle room than just rotating arts, but that's what it was classified as to the federal government, so that's how I have it here. So there is $24,000 there, which we'll need to figure out, because we really only have until the end of next year to get all of that expended, or it has to go back to the federal government. So there are timelines with this money that we'll need to make decisions on.
So we could potentially, with that funding source, we could expand rotating arts. We could add new sites if we wanted to, and that would be then, of course, we'd have to put the pads in, and there'd be a cost to that. and
Yep.
so, Okay.
And there's a few other things like some insurance payments and stuff like that that we can also pay out of there, but,
That would cover that, okay.
yeah. And then city donations restricted, that is the Embark. We got money for maintenance of that Embark sculpture. It's,
Northland and Washington Street?
yes. So that we can't make any changes to, that as an outside restriction, so they can only be used for maintenance for that sculpture. And then that brings us to the NEA grant, which I previously talked about, so I'm not gonna go over that again. And then Friends,
But that hasn't been defined, any of that?
it is artist grants. That is what it was.
But no grants have been, like, given? like,
Nope.
Okay, so we'd have to go out and seek these
Yep.
artists who want to do grants, and then, what's the
Yeah.
deadline for that?
I believe it's a 4-year and it starts in September.
Okay, so there's time to...
Yeah, there's plenty of time.
Okay.
We haven't even received the funds yet, truly, to start getting that. The only thing is, it was defined because in the application, we said we were doing artist grants. So,
And could it be grants for anything, or so?
artist
Artist
grants.
Oh, that's great, so the PDC then can decide,
It's an
like,
open,
what,
yeah.
how they want to change.
We went vague.
Sweet. That's good.
So then our Friends account, that is money that we have gotten from donations and stuff like that. That is really the last money to spend, because most of these other things have timelines and restrictions with them, so, but we do have money in there, should we need to pay for something in one of these other categories. We would just give it to the city, they would put it into probably the 211 account, and then we would just pay for things out of there.
So we have that piece that's on Adams, that, I don't know if it's operating, it's got the plastic bottle.
Oh.
The jellyfish?
Oh, the jellyfish, yeah.
Yes, salvage jellyfish, right?
Salvage jelly, yeah.
I don't know if it's operating or not, we might have to do some repair work on that.
Yep.
That would come out of that Friends account.
Actually, probably could come out of rotating arts also in the ARPA, because I do believe maintenance is in there.
Okay.
I've been championing maintenance since I've been on the commission.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maintenance, maintenance, maintenance.
And maintenance is very hard, because like CDBG funding doesn't allow
Yep.
for maintenance.
Right.
But that you can put the project up, but then you're on your own after that.
I've already been in communication with the artist, Brandon Minga, about it. He is planning on doing a trip up because I heard apparently that he also is the person who deals with the electrical.
I think
as
so,
well.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm already in contact with Brandon.
Oh, okay, excellent.
So could that come out of the 5,000 from the original arts grants that was from original?
Yeah,
That one's a-
allocated?
Did you say that was one that has to go back to the original artist?
That one was not a rotating one.
Oh, that wasn't a
one-
rotating, okay.
that was a different program at the time. I don't even remember which one, but that was not a rotating one.
Okay.
But we can fund it out of rotating because I believe maintenance is part of what is in rotating.
Okay.
And they didn't say maintenance of current or future, it said maintenance.
All right.
So
I like it.
if you're vague, you give me leeway. So in total of all the funding sources, we have about $343,000 to work with. So if you have ideas, get them to Eric.
Yes, that's good.
Please do.
The CDBG, you said that needs to be programmed. What's the deadline on those?
Really, as soon as possible, because we have to spend down by November, but these,
That's not, wasn't that money moved? Wasn't
that was
grant moved?
$80,000 that was moved, but we still want to try to get this money programmed so that we don't run into this problem next year.
So there's still 50,000?
This is the new money.
So we won't get that money until September.
Yeah.
So
Next
we
week.
won't need, but we won't need to draw that.
If we had a program that we could
We
get.
could spend it, but
Yes.
really it's
We
kind of
wanted-
next year's funding.
Yeah, we want to try to get the ideas out there because it does take a while to get that,
Right.
so, I mean,
If we have something great, it helps with that.
Yeah.
But
This is
it's
not-
newer money for us, really.
yeah, this is not a, like, it has to be spent tomorrow money, this is, like,
Okay.
let's start thinking because it's going to take a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So
Well,
that's
the ARPA
good.
funds are the ones to get out the door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is
Yeah, I
what we
think
all
ARPA.
know, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. Cool. All right, well, I think our next meeting will be September 24th. And some things we'll need to do is we'll need to elect a chair and a vice chair at that meeting. And then I think we're going to need to talk about the poet laureate,
Yes.
moving forward on that. And you have, of course, you know, Eric has experience with poet laureates.
Yes.
Which is good. And I think you're going to bring some recommendations back on it, because we have to go out and seek a poet laureate, I believe, council directive on that. And then also, we'll probably be looking at updates on these, like our rotating arts, like where some of those are, and some of those sites, and that kind of fun stuff.
Yeah, I saw a plan also for expanding it.
Yeah, yep.
More. I read it, yeah.
Cool, I mean, is there anything else, I think?
I have one quick thing.
Yeah.
So at 10, if anyone's available, our former public art coordinator Laura Schley and Annie Stensith at, yeah, if I'm pronouncing that name correctly, they did their mosaic during the Art Fest, the community art project, which my kids adored. They were really good at teaching, so there was, you know, popsicle sticks and whatnot to help them shape that mosaic. But at 10 o'clock, with the plant people and NEW Master Gardeners, they will be having a planting for that, and it looks beautiful, and it's at the old main flagpoles by Jimmy John's, which is like a block
Oh,
from my
okay.
house. So we've been driving by, and my kids are like, "Is that the one we worked on?" So yeah, if anyone's available, shameless plug. Yeah.
Cool. Does anybody have anything else that
I
we need
do.
to cover? Go ahead.
I will be leaving Brown County Employment September 15th.
What?
I'm still staying in the community. I just
Okay.
can't, the announcement's happening today. It's a smaller private nonprofit.
Okay.
Much better opportunity for me.
Okay.
So I hopefully you want somebody recommendation from the Neville, but definitely we want to get you over there because we're in the middle of
Okay,
our
yeah.
arts. Our exhibition manager is in charge of our community room and our art annual and just a lot of things that are happening because we're history, science, and art, but that third art piece is huge. So I will make sure we reach out and set up a time. before the
Absolutely, I'd love to
15th.
go.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
But that's my new stuff. I just can't. I'm not
Exciting.
leaving Brown County, I'm leaving Brown County Employment, but I'm still
Right.
living in Brown County, which allows me to do other things.
That sounded
dun,
exciting.
dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
All right.
Excellent. Okay, well,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Yeah, we had one of our members, their term was up in September.
I think Michelle.
Michelle.
We'll need to talk to Michelle
Yeah,
to see if she
okay,
likes, if
okay.
she wants to.
Okay, so
Re-up.
re-up, we can do that next week.
If we don't have anything else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved by Alder Prophet.
Second.
Seconded, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, motion passes. All right, thank you all for coming,
Thank
thanks so
you.
much.
Alex, nice to meet you.
Recording stopped.